So you feel like you just can't get over depersonalization? You know, it's been a few weeks or months or even years and your depersonalization and derealization are still here. You know, why are they still here? What are we doing wrong? What are the mistakes that we keep making that makes us not recover from DPDR? If you've been asking yourself these questions, then this video is just for you. Hi guys, my name is Swamy, and in this video I want to talk about the mistakes we keep making when it comes to depersonalization and derealization. You see, there are some right approaches and then there are some not so right approaches when it comes to handling DPDR and DPDR symptoms. By default, most of us almost always do the wrong thing. But if we can recognize these bad behaviors and fix them, then that will seriously improve our chances of recovery. Without further ado, here are the 10 mistakes that you're making when it comes to depersonalization and derealization that's keeping you away from recovery. Number 1 is fighting the DPDR. I've said this many times before. When we fight DPDR, when we resist feelings of DPDR, we're adding unwanted stress to ourselves. You know, we don't need this. DPDR is not our enemy. It's just a protective mechanism. Instead of fighting it, we need to learn to relax and let go. We must learn to accept and love these feelings and symptoms, even though they may be uncomfortable, unpleasant, or even downright scary. Now I know, you're probably wondering, who's this crazy guy who's telling me to accept these crazy symptoms? You know, I felt the same way. I felt the exact same way when I first learned about acceptance approach. But trust me, you know, that's what works in the long term. If you want to know more about this acceptance approach, check the videos that I'm going to be linking in the description. And if you're already someone who is familiar with the ways of acceptance but have trouble accepting depersonalization, then be sure to keep watching this video because I have the secret for you. Number 2 is constantly checking in. How many of us constantly checking to see if we're experiencing depersonalization or not? How many of us constantly checking to see if DPDR is still there? If you're always on the lookout for something, then guess what? You know, you're going to find it. Stop checking in. Stop this obsession with DPDR. This is normal if you're new to DPDR. That's completely understandable. This experience is so bizarre and unreal that you can't help but be obsessed about it. But over time, we must learn to care less about DPDR. We must aim not to keep tab on our DPDR all the time. Number 3, concerned about each and every symptom of DPDR. I can guess you're probably pulling your hair out about each and every symptom of DPDR, right? When you feel unreal, you become concerned. When you start feeling like you're in a movie, you start to panic. When you feel pressure on your forehead, when you feel somatic symptoms, you start to become worried. When your vision gets blurry, you start to freak out. I get it, this whole experience is very scary. But don't be concerned with each and every symptom. I go to DP forums, more on that coming up later, and I see a majority of people talking about one specific symptom after the other. Let me tell you, that gets exhausting pretty soon. What worked for me was to chalk everything up to DPDR. I told myself all of these bizarre symptoms are just because of DPDR. If you're really concerned about your health, then go to a medical doctor. You know, go get checked up. But once the doctor says you're fine, stop obsessing over these symptoms one after the other. Instead, tell yourself, this is just DPDR. Once the DPDR goes away, so will all of my symptoms. Keep telling that. 4, constantly being online or Googling. Who hasn't done that? I mean, when I was depersonalized, I was constantly Googling and reading about DPDR. I kept searching about symptom after symptom. But you gotta limit the time you're reading about DPDR. This just becomes a negative habit. Also, there's a lot of misinformation out there. The less you obsess about DPDR, the better it is for you. Because if you obsessed about DPDR, then you're not giving your body and the mind the time they need to heal. Number 5, checking forums all the time. During my DPDR days, I was going through all of the DPDR forum and posts. Sometimes this helped. I would read some recovery stories and feel better, but most of the time, they just kept me being afraid of DPDR. When you're constantly afraid of DPDR, it becomes hard to recover from it. Giving support to people, receiving support from people on these forums is good. I'm all for that. But most of the time, there's just like hopelessness in these forums, you know? That starts to affect you and your mental state. Try to get into a hopeful state. Try to have hope that you'll recover. That itself will increase the chances of your recovery. Limit your visits to online DPDR forums and Facebook groups and even subreddits. Although the DPDR memes on these can be great. Obsessing over timeline. Do you remember the day you became depersonalized? You know, I do. I still remember the date. It was May 5th, 20. That was many years ago. And for the longest time, I would keep a count on the number of days I was depersonalized. This absolutely did not help me. Stop worrying about how long you've had DPDR. It's time to move on from the past. Another related behavior where I see people go wrong is how people worry about how long they still have to go. You just don't know, and you shouldn't care. As long as you're following the right approach, which I've explained in great details over many videos on my channel, as long as you're following the right approach, you're gonna be fine. If you keep worrying about the past or the future, then be prepared to worry for a long time. All right, we're getting there, just a few more to go. Number 7 is being frustrated about setbacks. Setbacks are when you feel like things are getting better, but then suddenly you start to feel bad and you feel like you're starting all over again. Know this, setbacks will happen. They're part of the recovery process. Don't get frustrated about setbacks. Everyone goes through them. Also, when you're starting to feel better, don't dread that you're going to have a setback. Just be open to it. Don't lose the hope that you've built up. Number 8, staying unoccupied. If you're doing nothing but Googling and hanging out in DP forums and just being online on Facebook or just watching one DPDR YouTube video after another, then how can you get better? Your life needs structure now more than ever. Make sure you follow some healthy routines. I suggest starting eating healthy and starting a workout regimen and committing to it. You know, when you're starting, set the bar low. You don't have to go crazy, but just stay committed and occupied. An ideal mind and DPDR don't mix well. All right, number 9, staying busy. Some people are on the opposite end of what I just mentioned. They make themselves super busy in order to distract themselves from DPDR. You may be consciously or unconsciously trying to run away from DPDR. This may help in the short term, but these feelings always catch up. You cannot keep running away from them forever. So take some time off from your busy schedule, relax, just be still. You may feel the DPDR and it's scary and all the bizarre feelings when you do this, but that's okay. You know, accept what you're feeling. Once you learn that they cannot really harm you and you can just accept them, then you don't have to spend all of your time and energy trying to run away from them. This is the last one, baby. Number 10, not be able to feel safe. You know, in the previous points, I've talked about trying to relax and let go and be able to accept and allow these sensations and feelings to pass through you. But if you're having trouble with accepting these feelings, then know that deep inside, you're not feeling really safe. You falsely think that DPDR is out to get you. But this is far from the truth. In order to be able to relax in the face of intense DPDR, you've got to cultivate a feeling of safety. I've talked about this in a previous video, so I'll be sure to link it in the description. Another thing that goes hand in hand with being able to feeling safe is to be able to reassure yourself. This is a great quality to develop. If you're able to reassure yourself that nothing is really wrong with you, then you can pull through any DPDR symptom. Cultivate a feeling of safety. Know that DPDR cannot really harm you. keep reassuring yourself. Know that your body and mind are products of millions of years of finely tuned evolution. They're just not gonna give up on you. Use these facts to feel safe. And once you can do that, you can just let go, accept, love, and heal from this disorder. There you go, guys. Those are the 10 mistakes we keep making that keeps us in a state of constant depersonalization or derealization. Let me know in the comments which mistake you keep making and which ones you've been able to fix. I'm really curious to know. And until my next video, take good care of yourself. Know that you're going to get through this one day. Know that you're going to be fine. All right, I'm off. See ya.